Okay, so like I said, welcome to the LACOPS Pride Society Zoom seminar for allies, and we wanted to give a big shout out to our allies. I am Jules Sohn. I am with the LAPD, and I'm the current president of the LACOPS Pride, and I'm here with Keith. Go ahead and
Keith. Hi there, everyone. I'm Keith Ho. I am with the Vice President of LA Cops, and I'm the component of the other side in LA County. I'm with the Sheriff's Department, and I really appreciate Jules setting this up, and also really the the momentum carrying this forward and setting up Zoom meetings like this and valuable workshops that can share information with everybody.
right. So thank you so much, Keith. So Keith and I are both sergeants in our respective agencies, and our LA Cops Pride is open to all LA County public safety agencies, and we're open to civilian and sworn. And actually, Ana, who's on the panel, is one of our members on the civilian side. And so we definitely thank you so much for joining. And so the nexus and the reason why we wanted to do this particular seminar was we realized how powerful and important our allies are to the LGBTQ plus community, especially given some of the things that we're seeing today on the national side, as well as the continued rise of anti-LGBTQ plus hate crimes. And so without further ado, I wanted to introduce our incredible panelists. So we have, we're going to start with Frank, who is joining us from the East Coast and is a retired law enforcement officer. Frank, I would go ahead and welcome and thank you so much, and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Jules. So yes, as Jules said, I am a retired police officer from Southern New Jersey, right outside of the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. I retired in 2009, so I came on back in the 80s, so I'm an old head. After retired, I got involved in higher education, so I'm currently a faculty member at Pierce College in Philadelphia, which is now pretty much entirely online, and we're bringing in people from all over the country. I mentioned in our pre-meeting discussion that I have in my one class, I think I have out of 26 people, maybe a third of them are cops from around the country. It's really exciting because I love cops. But anyway, like I said, college faculty at Pierce, and the building behind me is our old building. We just recently moved out. Thanks to COVID, we went from having some face-to-face time to now we're all online. I'm also a PFLAG dad at the local PFLAG chapter in Collingswood, New Jersey. And I am an ally, of course. And the reason I'm an ally, which is one of the questions, so I won't get into it too deeply, is my daughter is a transgender woman who came out around the age of 13 or 14 and now is 29, living in New Zealand with another transgender woman. So made a long distance relationship that was about 8 years before they actually got together, and now, making a way for themselves out there. And lastly, for right now, I am also a PhD candidate at Capella University, and I'm in the dissertation phase and currently working on a study of transgender law enforcement officers. And I said, well, why would you do that? Well, one of the reasons, obviously, my child is transgender, but two, early on in my PhD journey, one of the courses that they had was an organizational management, organizational leadership course. And the university provided a scenario where there was actually an officer who transitioned on the job, and it was all about, well, how do you deal with this? And what are the, and I started doing, diving into the research. I was much more knowledgeable at that point than I was when my child came out. I will admit that I was totally ignorant back then, but we'll get into that later on. So my research study is called I'm looking at the wrong place, Exploring the Lived Experiences of Transgender Law Enforcement Officers in the Workplace. So it's going to be what we call a qualitative study, where I'm going to do confidential interviews with participants who volunteer to participate. we do have a recruitment letter that I did send a copy to Jules, which you're welcome to reach out to her and get it, or you can reach right out to me. I'm going to put my contact information in the chat. Well, I realized that, obviously in today's times, you want to be cautious of who you're reaching out to. So if you want to read the recruitment letter first and then reach out to me, that's great. I'm also going to provide a link to my screening questions because the college requires, as part of the process of doing a dissertation, that you have to obviously make sure that the people that are participating meet the requirements of the people that you want to study. So that I'll provide a link to as well, because if you feel that you want to dive right in, then you can dive right in. And the next step in that is there's the consent. You're required to do what they call informed consent for any kind of study. That's based upon federal guidelines and all kinds of other guidelines and research, because we want to protect people that are involved in any type of research involving human subjects. So there's all kinds of standards, which y'all don't need to know right now, but I have to follow those standards. So that's why there's screening questions. That's why there's informed consent, which once you do the screening questions and you provide me contact information, that'll be sent to you. And it's a digital signature thing. I tried to get away with not requiring signatures at all, because there's some cases where you can get away with that if it's, the vulnerable populations or what have you, but the college wouldn't let me do that. So that's a requirement as well. One thing I'll tell you right now is, like I said, totally confidential. Everything that happens with regard to the interviews and the information you provide me is going to be in a secure location in my home for the next, the informed consent document says I have to keep it for 7 years. So it's going to be locked up somewhere for all that time. And that's where it'll be. The only time people ain't going to know anything about it is through my dissertation, and no one's going to be identified. I don't expect to even identify where you work, because that might be too much information, So once you take a look at the informed consent document, you can make your decision and see where we go. I think that's it, Jules.
All right. Thank you so much, Frank. And I did put my email in the chat. So if you want a copy of the recruitment letter, I do have it. We did send it out to our membership. And I do know that the trans community of police officers and sheriffs, TCOPS, our sister organization, did put it out to their membership as well. But yeah, thank you so much, Frank, for joining us. Thank you for doing a study.
I would add that Julie over at TCOPS has been with me on this project for like the last 2 or 3 years. Totally supportive. I struggled a bit because the college didn't let me do the full population. They made me do a niche, which was non-white people only. But my new chair says that's ridiculous, and he allowed me to open it up so that I can hopefully recruit folks. And maybe, hooking up with you, I might get the people I wanted to do in the first place anyway.
Yes.
It's just
so
things are starting to roll, which is
that's good. Yeah.
at the same time that the president's trying to keep it damped down.
Yes, and that's kind of the elephant in the room right now, is that yesterday the DoD had pushed out a memo to basically advise the trans service members that they were going to be separated from service. And so we're doing this at a very really tense time for the community. And Frank and Ana and Tony, thank you so much for showing your support for the community too. But yeah, thank you, Frank. All right, Ana, you're up next. Thank you again, Ana, for being a part of this panel. Ana has been one of our major supporters for so long, and so we definitely appreciate her being here today. So Ana, could you introduce yourself?
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Ana Castro, and I work for LAPD. I'm a senior administrative clerk, and I am a proud parent of my child that is transgender. Yeah. I'm really nervous. So.
No, it's okay, Ana. I'll be asking more questions.
Okay,
soon.
okay.
But yeah,
thanks.
yeah, Ana and I used to work on the same floor. Are you still working at
RNI?
RNI? Okay, yes.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, we'll definitely kind of dive in a little deeper in terms of like some of the things that we've done together. So Ana's gone to many like city council sessions regarding Pride Month and things like that. And so she's definitely been a major supporter and very visible as an ally. So thank you so much for being a part of the panel.
Of course. Thank you for
And then
having
now
me.
we're gonna, yes, thank you so much. And now we're gonna go to Tony. Are you able to, I know you're hopefully not driving, so.
Hi. No, I'm not driving. Hi. So, hello, everybody. My name is Tony Boisselle. I'm a captain with the Los Angeles Airport Police. I come from a law enforcement family dating all the way back to my great grandfather was a police chief on the East Coast. My dad retired from Santa Monica Police. And I just, I love the work. I love helping people. I love being people's guardians. I love, you know, people in general, which is a lot of why I participate in other groups and specifically this group. Jules, you were right when you talk about how the DoD came out with that memo, and it's just there's a lot of things that we deal with when it comes to law enforcement and the LGBTQ, and especially at my rank as a captain. I command a big group of people, and there's a lot of members of the LGBTQ group that work for me, and I have to make sure that they're treated fairly. I my saying, you can't give 100% if you can't be 100%, and that's one of the things why. And just like Frank said, we'll go into why later, why I'm participating, why I'm an ally. But that's a little crux of me. It's nice to meet everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. This is super important to everybody, specifically our officers who are out there. Some who are proud to be who they are, some are afraid. And we have to make sure that us as allies at all ranks show that we love them and we care and we support them. So nice meeting everybody.
Nice meeting you.
All right, thank you so much. So those are our amazing panelists, and so I get the privilege of asking some questions to for discussion. And so the first question is, what does being an ally mean to you? And so I'm going to start with Ana. What does being an ally mean to you?
So I heard this phrase before at the LGBT Center. Be the change that you want to see in the world. So that's what it means to me to demonstrate, I am proud of my daughter, to show that there's nothing wrong with my child, to show that to try to show people that that transgender people and LGBTQ people are just human beings, just like everyone else, and that they have the same dreams and the same aspirations of having a good life, having a good job, having family, having what everyone else wants, and to advocate for them, to learn about the difficulties that they go through and the challenges, and to speak up. If you hear something, say something, and get involved as much as you can. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ana. Yeah, you definitely have been very visible, especially with like the local PFLAG chapter and also at work. And so we definitely appreciate your visibility and your support. So thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Of course.
All right, we're going to go to Frank and then to Tony. So same question, what does being an ally mean to you?
Oh my goodness, how much time you got? So I think, first of all, I think I was an ally before I knew I was an ally, because I'm one of those people that's open and supportive and of everyone, accepting. I grew up as a child in a certain section of Philadelphia where it was a mixed race community, and I was accepting of everyone. And I come to the suburbs, and I actually handled a call on dispatch one night where some white woman was calling to complain about a black guy walking down the street. I'm like, okay, what's the problem? And that's the kind of guy I am. Everybody's everybody. You're a human. And so I've had, plenty of friends in the community over the years, and it didn't mean anything other than You know, these are people too. And then my daughter came out. Now she's now 29 years old, came out about, I guess, 13, 14. I always lose track of the time, but it's been quite a while now. And I was totally ignorant of the transgender community and what that actually meant. You know, even having been a cop for 25 years and encountering people on the street, but I didn't really know anything about, you know, the brain science and all the stuff that went about that. So I think part of being an ally means that I needed to learn everything I could so I could be an informed ally. So I can counter the ignorance that I had at some point, but the, you know, the people who refuse to even take a look and try to figure out, you know, the reality of the situation. It's like, well, God said this. Well, yeah, me, I'm a Catholic too, but you got to look at this. So that's one thing is I gotta learn. You know, and as an academic right now, I do that. But I also have to be supportive, not only of the people that I know, but also of the people that I don't know, that are out there struggling, the people that are being attacked every single day by certain parts of our community. And you know, I'm not saying that I'm out there and flying the flag everywhere I go, but you know, if I'm in the middle of, you know, any kind of situation, I'm going to speak up. And this is the reality of it. And maybe you need to learn a little bit. So, and I'm very passionate about it as well. Uh, Always supportive of my kid. My child decided to move to New Zealand with her partner, who's also a transgender woman, and both of them said the United States was out of the question because my kid's a brilliant person and basically saw the environment that was building. She left here about 2 years ago, thinking, well, my my partner's not going to come here. I'm going to go there where it's a more friendly environment for me, for her. So, and I could go on, but I don't. We got to give Tony his time.
Yes. Thank you, Frank. So Tony, like I'm going to ask the same question, and then also I think we're kind of touching upon the second question too. But so what does being an ally mean to you, and then how did you become an ally? So I'm going to kind of bridge those two questions together.
Yeah, I think I went there by accident. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. It means everything to me. The principles of being a law enforcement officer or policing and public safety in general is all about people, knowing people, understanding people, caring for people, loving people. Okay. As allies, we don't know what it's like to be part of the LGBTQ community. No idea. We don't have the feelings. We don't have the 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 experiences. We don't have any of that stuff. But what we do have here is a reason. It kind of segues into why I got involved and why I'm an ally is because we know people who are part of the community. 10% of people are part of the LGBTQ community. That's 10%. So that means every single one of us knows one or two people, whether we know it or whether they come out or not. And I end up having a friend who was, I call him my big sister, but and I loved him to death. He passed away in a car accident, but he taught me about loving people. And those are the principles of why we're police officers, right? We're police officers because we want to care for people. And even if we don't know about or not a part of the community and we don't know, it's our job and our duty to learn about it, to be compassionate about it, to understand people for who they are and advocate for their equal rights. And Jules, you hit it right on the head. There's so much going on in politics right now where some of the rights are threatened and could be taken away. And as standard bearers of the Constitution, which we are in law enforcement and in policing, it's our duty to make sure that we protect the rights of everybody. It boils down to love, compassion, and community. That's why I'm an ally. And that's what brought me to being an ally. And that's why I'll do it forever, unapologetically.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tony. Yeah, so some background is that Tony actually reached out to me, to see how he could be involved in our organization. And it was nice to have somebody who is an ally and is very vocal to be a part of this. And because sometimes you don't see that, unfortunately, you don't have as much vocal, support. And so we definitely appreciate you being a part of the panel, and all of you, because this is actually very helpful for people to see that there is support for the community, especially at a time where some folks are feeling that they may need to go back into the closet. I had some conversations offline with some folks that were very concerned about some of the news that was coming out of Washington, and they were already fairly closeted, but they were even more concerned. So I think this is why we're here today. And so I do want to touch upon question number 3, and I know people have hit upon it, but I'll ask Ana this. Why do you think it's important for people to know about supporting members of the LGBTQ community? Why is visibility so important?
Because there's a lot of ignorance out there, and people don't know who transgender people are. They think they heard, but they don't know. And right now the community is facing discrimination. The LGBTQ plus community is facing a lot of discrimination. Transgender people in this country are being persecuted, just by taking away the rights. It's really scary, it's really concerning, and if it happens to them, it can happen. Who's going to be next? If they succeed at this, then who's going to be next? And that's so scary to me. And I want people to know that transgender people, LGBTQ people, are just regular human beings like everyone else. And they're human beings. They could be your therapist, your doctor, your neighbor. They could be the person you work next to. They could be someone that you really like. But it's just probably not safe for you to know, because really it's not. I don't think it's safe. Not everywhere. You just never know. So yeah.
So thank you, Ana. But yeah, you're right. It's one of the issues that we talk about is, being out and visible requires knowing if you're safe to be out and visible. Like
Yeah.
we talk about coming out as LGBTQ folks, but coming out as an ally is also coming out. And so, but thank you, Ana, for bringing that up. And Frank, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, well, obviously, I echo her comments, and I think we have a big challenge ahead of us, because one of the things that people don't know, the people who are basically anti-trans is the big thing today, is they don't know the history. They don't know that trans people have been around for almost forever. If you, I've read a whole lot as part of building up to my research and writing various papers along the way. You can identify trans people way back in our history, but the folks that are against the trans community don't have a clue. They think it's all of a sudden, this wave of stuff that people want to convert people and all that kind of crap. They don't know the background. They don't know the science. They talk about science all the time, but they haven't taken the time to actually look at the science with regard to how our brain develops and how we internally identify ourselves, regardless of what our external body parts are. And I think that's something that is very important, that we have to figure out how to deal with what's going to become, I think, an information underload based upon, it's crazy when you think about folks a few years ago were complaining about, oh, we're going to wipe away these monuments of Confederate people and wipe away monuments here. And now we're wiping away reference to transgender people at Stonewall. To me, it's absolutely asinine. And, the ally community and the LGBTQ community need to figure out a way to get that information out while the current administration is trying to shut it down.
Thank you so much, Frank. Sorry about that. I had a little technical issue there, but yeah, I definitely appreciate your thoughts and your insights. Tony, did you want to add anything about the importance of knowing and supporting members of the LGBTQ community, and also specifically in law enforcement? Because I find it very interesting that like how you mentioned that a lot of folks who are within the community, they come out to you. So there's some level of visibility, or something that you're doing that people find that they can trust you with that information. So can you kind of like touch upon that?
So I utilize social media a lot. Social media, you got to be careful when you're in policing and social media, because people use it as a tool, they use it as a weapon, they use it, they can use it for nefarious reasons. So one of the things about being in today's age in law enforcement is people can find you, they look you up, you can Google people and you can see them. So I've I had my social media page, which was very police oriented, and then I one day cut everything law enforcement off, and I kept the stuff that was important to me as an individual, as a human being. So a lot of that stuff, and one of that stuff was the LGBTQ ally. It's been on there forever, ever since I had it, and it's never going to come off. So that is part of it. When it comes to Pride Month, I talk to people. I talk to people about how important it is to support. One of the things in policing we don't do well with our officers is we don't educate. There's not really an education portion. We educate everything on, whatever it is, whatever topic it is, but we really don't focus on issues that concern the LGBTQ community. And then you look around and say we talk about it a little bit. We look around and I've got the LGBTQ officers that are quiet. They don't say anything. Now, I grew up next to West Hollywood. So I say it as in jest, but my gaydar is really on fleek. I could tell, right? so, so, and one of my best friends, right, it was gay, right, and so I'm able to like kind of hint with these officers, and then some come to me and say, "Hey, we didn't know you were gay," and I'm like, "No, I'm not," but and then we start having these conversations, and it is super important. It is super important that we make these officers feel comfortable to be who they are. And we educate the other officers, because you don't know. And specifically in law enforcement and in policing, we're the ones that are supposed to know everything. And we're the ones that are supposed to go to a call, and how we deal with a call with a straight couple versus a couple that's part of the LGBTQ community. You have to handle that different. There's different components in there. If you don't know, then it could be, you can make huge mistakes. So I think really it's important that we train our officers and learn to, and really embrace the community, which is the exact opposite of what I grew up knowing about. Like Frank was a cop in the 80s. And Frank could tell you a bazillion stories about how people talked about, people in the community. Even when I started in the 90s, I could tell you some stories too. But we're 2025, and society has progressed, and people are people, and the laws have changed, and unfortunately they're changing back, but we're still fighting in that era, and we need to train our officers. Now, I'm very fortunate to be part of an organization where I haven't seen that within the organization. I haven't seen it. And believe me, I've looked. I haven't seen it. But there are still organizations and departments out there that have officers who are afraid. And like you said, they're more scared now than ever. So,
Good reason.
yeah, for very good reason.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tony. Yeah, you touch upon training, and I don't know if Anna, if you wanted to share your experiences like helping with training, because I know, and I don't know if you want to go into details on, maybe we can keep it general, but about like training within the workplace, because, yeah, Anna and I had worked on providing some training regarding how people treat each other within the workspace. And I didn't know if you wanted to share a little bit on that, Anna. I know that was kind of the nexus of how Anna and I kind of worked together with a prior LGBTQ liaison.
I guess that goes to question number 4 about, no, about
It's showing support.
showing support.
Yeah.
How do you show support?
Yeah. How do you show support?
I think you show support by being visible, by like, for example, me, I started to go to PFLAG meetings to learn about the challenges and to learn more and to learn better how to support my child. That's how I learned. And then also going to the LGBT center and go to a group for transgender people and just listen to them. And I even went to like places for where they celebrate, they have celebrations for LGBTQ homeless youth and it's heartbreaking, to see so many children, like teenagers, like it's homeless. And so showing up and being present and being there means so much because they can see that they're not alone, that people care, and it gives the most vulnerable people, it gives them hope and it gives them strength to keep going and keep fighting, and also they can have more trust in people. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. Yeah, so Anna's actually done a lot of work locally with the PFLAG chapter. There's PFLAG LA has like a lot of different sub-chapters. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
they have a Spanish PFLAG and Espanol, and then they have for transgender people separate, just because of the issues are different for transgender people. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so I always think of Anna as our local PFLAG mom because she's so active, and going to the LA LGBT Center has so many great programs and support chats, and so definitely a great resource for folks. But yeah, thank you so much, Anna. I was going to go to Frank and ask the same question about like, what are some ways that people can show support?
Well, I obviously being out there and in another program that I saw a couple weeks ago is the phrase "I see you," is letting people know that you see them and you support them, and also being willing to talk to anybody, anytime, anywhere in support of the community. I am, if you haven't figured it out yet, I will talk to anyone, anytime, anywhere. My wife's always on my butt because I talk to too many people when we're out, wherever we're out, and I'll talk about anything. And that's very important, I think, to be willing to spread the word, be willing to share, be willing to, as Tony said, fly the flag on your social media. Support. I share things that I see from the New Jersey LGBTQ liaisons all the time, always support, which supports the entire community. And from other organizations that I follow on social media, I'm constantly sharing their messages because I realize that, quite frankly, that some of the people that are following Frank are not knowledgeable or totally supportive of the community. But the more that I can try to push it on them, maybe they'll pay more attention and take the time to learn. Well, if he's saying it, maybe we need to learn. And of course, where, as you mentioned, the allies are important in that maybe we have influence over people that wouldn't normally pay attention to members of the community, where they will take the moment to listen to us. And I'm hoping also that, as far as support and people getting involved with the research that I'm getting and what I write as far as, my dissertation, that helps to make the community better seen and better respected and all that. And one of the things that I did as a supportive person is I joined a group in the American Society of Criminology, which they started a division of Queer Criminology, which is all queer folks and allies who do research in that area, how people in the community are affected or impacted by the criminal justice system, or as some people want to call it, the criminal legal system. And I got involved with them before they even got approval, because I happened to be at the national conference when they were having a meeting to get it started. I'm like, yeah, I want to be there. And that's another thing I did. Got involved in it with a group that I wasn't already doing stuff in that field, but I jumped in hook, line, and sinker, and I'm active with those people all the time, and trying to help those folks to get seen. And they're a great group of people, and I follow them all the time. I'm in their email distribution, and that's just another way. Is where you are. Obviously, I'm no longer in law enforcement, but I'm also in touch with a lot of people in law enforcement. And I educate people who are in law enforcement all over the country. And anytime that I can mention whether, my family situation or other things about the community, I will do that as it is appropriate within, the contacts that I have with my students and the people that I'm involved with.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you, Frank. Anna, did you want to?
Yeah, so I was just gonna add that yeah, showing support is also getting getting out of your comfort zone, and if you hear something, no matter where you are, this is part of daily, I guess, my daily life. Like if I go to the store, or I go to the dentist, or like if I hear something, if I see something, I'm gonna call it out and educate people. And I think some professional people, if they have their own business, they appreciate it when they get called out. One of my dentists, like, he gave me a big hug because I called him out, so yeah, this is something that you carry with you in your daily life. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anna. Tony, did you want to add to ways that people can show support? And then I'm going to also ask you the second question, which is, what are some of the obstacles you've faced as an ally, or have you had any? So two-part questions.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of like what Frank and Anna said, you've got to be you, and you've got to be unapologetically you. People know whether you're authentic or not. They know whether you care. But a lot of people, in any business and in whatever they do, when they want to push an agenda or push something, whether they're checking boxes, or whether they're really mean it or not. So you have to, and you have to be consistent in what you do, and be unapologetic. Like I said before, I don't care what people think about me. But they think about me is none of my business. I don't care what people think. Like I said, I've become, because I've come out and been open about supporting. I've gotten a lot of "he's in the closet," you know, and they go, well, he's got 3 kids or 5 kids, or he's still in the closet, and that kind of stuff. And it doesn't matter. I don't care. Because the ultimate goal is not about none of this that I do has anything to do with me. It has to do with the people that I love and I care about. And that's really why we're here and what we're doing. Some of the obstacles, from my position as a high ranking person in policing, some of the obstacles is really lack of education.
Mm.
We've got the majority of the people in command staff in law enforcement now are, the baby boomers are pretty much leaving and gone. And now you've got the early Gen Xers, and then you've got some of us, younger Gen Xers that are now running an organization, and now we're leaders of people who are Gen Zs, millennials, Ys, and whatever you want to call them. Now, we didn't grow up with the LGBTQ issues being okay. We didn't grow up. Derogatory words were going all around. People were saying whatever. The AIDS was out there in the 80s, and this is what we're watching, and this is what we're seeing. These kids that we're now leading, they've grown up to say it's okay to be gay. It's okay to be this. Be who you are. Be this. So these kids are educated, and as a group, we're not. So we have to educate ourselves and be open to listening about a lifestyle, feelings that we are not privy to or that we don't feel, and being understanding and supporting of it. Yeah, Frank briefly talked about religion. There's people that spew religion about this, and I go, wow, they say all this stuff about it, and then, you could go into the Bible and you could read all the stuff that they say, right? And say what they say. And it is the most unreligious thing that they're doing. They're saying one thing and using it, using religion as a tool. So again, that's been one of my obstacles. Another obstacle I have is that people are afraid to come out. They know they'll come out to me in private, but ask that I don't say anything. And of course, I'm never going to out them. But how do I help? You got to stand next to me, man. I'm trying to help you out, but again, like we just talked about, these new rules and laws and things that are coming out, they're pushing people back in the closet. Now, how do it's horrible. So those have been the obstacles I've had as a leader in law enforcement. And it's just not my organization. It's from organizations all across, all around, because I've got friends everywhere, as we all do, right? We all have friends in other agencies. So those are the two major things. There's other stuff, but they're pretty minor, and they all lead up to the same thing. So
Hmm.
those are the obstacles that I'm dealing with. But and the only thing that I can do is say, hey, look, I'm gonna stand right beside you. I don't care whatever barbs they throw at us. I'm standing right here. I'm not going anywhere. And I have to make sure that they truly believe that I say what I'm gonna do, or do what I'm gonna say. So
Right. Thank you so much, Tony. Yeah, that's thank you for standing and being visible for a lot of folks that may not be able to do it themselves. Because like that's actually a conversation that happens a lot with there's a LGBTQ plus liaison network, and it's sometimes the liaison's the only out person in a small agency. And so uh, a lot of what you say is true. It's very difficult for folks to be out. And I had a meeting with one of our advisory council members regarding their agency and the fact that um, there are folks in that are not comfortable coming out and they're not there. They're not in that space. But yeah, thank you so much for your support and your allyship. That is a
I
tough
think
question.
I think we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
I believe sometime in my, maybe not during my career. I don't know. I'll try to stick around as long as I can, but I definitely know in my lifetime, I feel we're gonna get there. And I think everybody in this room and everybody who tunes in and everybody who's talking is gonna do their part, and we're just gonna, force multiply, but we're gonna get there.
All right. Thank you, Tony. Frank, you're on the East Coast. I don't know, like what kind of obstacles have you faced as an ally, and what are you seeing out that way?
Well, I think I'm in a different space. Obviously, being outside of law enforcement, like Tony mentioned, taking down the policing stuff off of his social media is like I never took anything down. I don't give a crap. You think what you think, get over it. I got nothing to worry about as far as a job or career. The people in my school are very supportive all the way around. So I don't necessarily, if there are obstacles, I don't see them, at least not outside, maybe not outside my own family, where there may be some folks that are not totally supportive and still not accepting of our own, relatives. That becomes difficult for me. There's certain spaces where it's very uncomfortable to talk openly because you're going to get the blowback right in your own backyard. But out in the public, maybe I just thought I'm like the person who's not paying attention and drives right through the barricades, because I am a very vociferous person, and I have two of my own work cohorts are in the room that could probably speak to that. Uh, so the obstacles, I don't necessarily see them, but as far as on the East Coast, obviously you already mentioned the New York goal, and we also have in Philly there's a PA goal and very active organizations. Philadelphia was actually very interesting. They had not their first, but currently I think the only transgender officer in the Philadelphia Police Department, actually came out in the academy. And what was really amazing, in that there's stories, I think it was in 2020, there's stories from the Philadelphia Inquirer and other local media about how all of the members of his class were totally supportive, or those that weren't didn't mention it. You know, it was like, totally cool. We're all good. We're supportive of you. You know, you're a person, you're a cop just like us. And that's the way it is. And that person is still active and working with the Philadelphia Police Department. Hopefully I can get him to participate in my research, because been out loud and proud since the academy. So that's really cool. You know, maybe certain parts of the East Coast that are, you know, more vocal, more what's the word? I'm losing the word, but anyway, you know, because we have our own very active neighborhood in Philadelphia. That's what they call it. And of course, there's plenty of room in New York City, so there's lots of activity here in this part of the East Coast. I'm sure there's some more, you know, Pennsylvania, difficult, purple state. So certainly there's a lot of conservative folks, and in other parts of the state, but on the cities like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, you know, it's more blue areas, and you have a lot more support and ability to get the word out and speak to people. So I don't see barricades, at least, you know, for me, or obstacles, and there's a lot of good stuff, I think, going on as far as, like I said, the New Jersey law enforcement liaisons, which I'm totally supportive of, and always sharing all their messages and trying to get people to see that stuff.
Thank you, Frank. Yeah, I always like to know what's going on in different parts of the country too. And like, we have very similar, like the cities tend to be a little bit more progressive and be
Progressive was the word I was looking for.
I didn't want to assume, but
it's old timers disease.
Okay.
I forget, words sometimes escape me.
That's okay. It's starting for me, so there we go.
No way, you're too young. Come on.
But Ana, like, I'll go to you in terms of what obstacles have you faced as an ally?
I think ignorance, basically. People reacting with fear and with anger and like an instinct. Like there's something, like they're not even, I don't think they're aware of it. They just are like a reaction, you know. And I guess one of the obstacles is that as a mom, I'm very emotional, and it's hard to deal with. So I think that's been the obstacle that I have, my emotional reaction as a mom, you know. But
I mean, that's tough because I mean, like I've seen some of the tension that can come up from you know, what happens in the workspace, you know. So one of the things that Ana and I worked on was we've done some training jointly with some of the different divisions within LAPD. And like, for example, I did a training at Communications Division. There were some issues in the workplace where there was a trans person who was hired, and there were some issues where people didn't understand. Our policies are pretty clear in terms of we don't discriminate. You know, in California, our law with the California Civil Code 51B, a person can use a facility that aligns with their gender identity. And so, you know, just really educating people. And so I just wanted to thank Ana for being a part of those educational moments that can be very tense. And, you know, sometimes people get emotional about things because they bring other aspects of themselves into the workspace, when really at the end of the day, you just want to treat everybody with dignity and respect.
yeah, I don't know why they think that it's okay to treat people in the LGBTQ community different than they would treat someone else. They should treat everyone the same. We all have rights. We all should be concerned about ourselves and not other people, and not be passing judgment. We LGBTQ people don't want special treatment. They just want to be respected, just like you respect other people, you know. I think people need to be mindful in the workspace about how they speak, what things they say. You know, if treat pretty much everyone the way you want to be treated.
Definitely. Did anybody want to add to that in terms of thoughts? Frank, you look like you had a thought.
100% behind that. 100%.
I agree totally.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah, I mean, that was a great answer, Anna. It was very clear and very, the point was well made.
Thanks. I think one of the biggest, what was really shocking to me when my daughter came out as being trans and she was in college, and then I thought, oh my gosh, what about after college? Where is she going to work? How are they going to treat her? That was so impactful to me. And so, yeah, so this is why I feel so strongly about this. This is why I guess this is how I became an ally, being a parent that loves her child. So I love my child. She's my life. She's my everything. And I saw her as going through difficulties through her life, and I didn't know how to help out. I didn't know. I didn't have the knowledge. So I educated myself, and right away I started to educate everyone around me, in my family, even my neighbors, everyone. Like, for me, was an instinct to protect my child, to make it better for her. I don't
Is
want
that,
everyone to lose my child.
thank you so much, Anna, for sharing. Is that how you found PFLAG? Is that
That's how I found PFLAG.
okay.
That's how I found the organizations. That's how it was like, I was like obsessed. Like, I went and I used to spend all night on reading books about it.
Sounds so familiar.
Yeah, and that's all I had in my mind. Like, I wanted to just keep my child safe, and I didn't understand, and I wanted to understand, and I didn't want to go to my daughter and ask her all these questions because she was going through so much, and so I took it upon myself to educate myself on my own. That's so important to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I can kind of dive in on that too. I built a huge library, which after I, you know, ate all the books, I donated them to to the local public library so they would be part of their collection. And joined the PFLAG, or went to the PFLAG, went to several meetings because I needed to educate myself. I needed to be involved with other folks, other parents in similar situations. And as when you go into a PFLAG meeting, and to your question about organizations, PFLAG is a great one that people should definitely get involved with. Uh, you're meeting people who are on various parts of the journey. From the parent that just walks in the door, hey, my kid just told me this last week, help me, to the parent who's 10 years down the road like me now, who has maybe a wealth of knowledge that they didn't have when their child first came to them with this message. And one of the things that I have also done is help my child, whenever, whether it was when she got her name officially changed, taking her to the courthouse and helping to get that done, dealing with the issues on the home front. As I mentioned earlier, I don't want to get too deeply into that, but that's a struggle. And just being there and supportive for my own kid, as Anna has mentioned, but then also being out front wherever I am, whenever I can. Uh, when you see something, what do they say in law enforcement and Homeland Security? You see something, say something.
Yes.
That's a very important thing to remember. You see something, say something. Hey, wait, whoa, what's going on there? And we got to be there. We have to be there.
Thank you, Frank,
Mhm.
and Anna. Tony, did you have any thoughts in terms of organizations or like just um, things that you think would be helpful for people who are maybe are dealing with like, hey, somebody came out to them, like what did they do, kind of thing.
I have a as you mentioned, when I reached out to you, I went and found you. And I found this organization and I said, I want to be a part of it. One of the things that I look at is I take a look at I have a holistic approach on the stuff that I look at, and I'm trying to find little things that I can do to share in different organizations. And I have a really dear friend of mine who has a cafe in Hawaii, and it's called Spill the Tea Cafe, and that's for LGBTQ youth,
Mm.
teenagers, and they go to the cafe, and she's a therapist, and she provides services for the kids, or they come out and they hang out. So these are organizations that I support, that that start at a young level, and then it kind of branches out to where Frank and Anna's at, where the parents are getting, they're being educated. you know Frank and Anna's children are very lucky to have them. There's a lot of people out there who, as soon as they say that, who, as soon as they come out of the closet, their parents, their families like, see you later. And we have to look for the opportunities to support them as human beings. I mean, like I said, everything comes back to love, compassion, and humanity for me. And so I think that if people really want to, like Frank said, educate yourself. And it kind of goes back to what I said in the academy. What are we doing in the academy to educate our officers? What are we doing in the training program to educate our officers? What do we do? What are we doing in within the organizations to help our officers or our staff? Anybody, could be anybody that works in our department, sworn or non-sworn, to feel comfortable in being who they are. Because Anna said something earlier about, coming out and talking and being open with the families. Well, to do that, you have to make yourself vulnerable. And in police work, making yourself vulnerable is like the kiss of death, right? Because people use that as a tool. So we have to really do things to change the culture. So organizations that help change the culture, like this one, like PFLAG, like things for youth, like Spill the Tea Cafe in Hawaii. These are organizations that we can look towards and say, hey, how do we do our part? So
Yeah, thank you so much, Tony. I appreciate everybody's insight. So I kind of wanted to, we're getting close to where I want to give time for people if they have any questions, but I wanted to give everybody a chance to have like if you wanted to say something to somebody who is LGBTQ, maybe they're in the closet, or an ally who's struggling, like, is there any message that you want to convey? And we'll kind of go around. Frank, if there's something that you would like want to say, and then we'll go to Tony and then Anna.
Wow. Well, first of all, obviously, I see you, and I am here for you. You can come to me whenever you want, and I will support you till the ends of the earth.
Yeah,
and find
that's,
whatever help that I can find to help you.
thank you so much, Frank. Tony?
uh well, you know what I would tell somebody is, you're no different than me. We bleed the same color, we love the same. We do the same things. We accomplish the same things. I mean, you take, like, look at you and I. I have to tell you, Jules, I'm very jealous because I see your pictures hanging up, and then you turn around and see mine, and I'm gonna have to fix mine to look like yours.
Okay. Actually, that's my spouse doing that. She studied art, so she's like,
Well, I'm gonna be like your spouse, because right now that's exactly, I got ADHD, and that's it right there. So, but and I kind of, I joke about it a lot, because we are the same people. Love, compassion, humanity. That's the foundation of everything that we should be doing in life. And especially for us in police work. We are the standard bearers of the Constitution. We know what the Constitution means, and we know what it was intended for. And we know that there's people that are constantly trying to do stuff to harm the equality of all people. I'm going to tell you and everybody else, I'm going to stand next to you. I'm going to fight with you. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm not sorry about it. I'm not embarrassed about it. I don't care what people think, because everybody needs to be treated the same.
Yeah.
thank you, Tony. And Anna?
I would say that I see you, and you're not alone. We're fighting for you. I'm fighting for you every day, and hang in there. it's going to be okay.
Thank you so much, Anna. With that, I wanted to open for questions. If anybody had any questions for our panelists, you can use the raise your hand function or put the question in the chat. I know Gus had given a shout out to Tony about really about your allyship and almost wanting to join airport police, which makes me nervous. Gus, don't leave us. But Gus, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I'll say something. No, thank you, Tony, for your allyship, especially from somebody in your position. I mean, it means a lot. I know for other officers that obviously comfortable enough to confide in you, that's huge. You know, for people that are either in the closet still, because in our job, it's like it's hard sometimes to come out. And so I'm the opposite. I'm very out and unapologetically like that, but not everybody's like me. You know, there's people, there's night and day. Same thing with me. There's people that are comfortable and people that aren't. And I get why, but it is different how it is before than now. Sergeants have told me, and they appreciate that I am who I am, and I just want to be hopefully, like you said, in our lifetime, hopefully we'll have a place where it'll be comfortable. I know for me, I've had nothing but positive experiences and support. And so I am lucky in that aspect. So no, but I thank you a lot, Tony, for that. It means a lot.
Well, I appreciate you. I mean, you're really courageous in what you do and how you handle it. And I've seen your operations in this organization. And yeah, we would love to have you as a lateral.
See, yeah, all right. Whoa. Okay. But,
We'll take him.
I figured, but yeah, so
No.
and he could still be on the board because we're open to, so LA Cops is open to everybody. So but yeah, thank you so much, Gus and Tony and everybody. Are there any other questions or people want to make any statements? I see there's some, let me take a look. I see some comments in the chat. Here we go. So we have some comments like Karina saying, so informative, educational, and inspiring. Thank you for the invite. And then Ellen saying, thank you, all of you, and thank you to Frank for letting us know about this panel. Thank you, Frank, for pushing info out on this. And yeah, so definitely appreciate that. Yeah, any other questions? Jeff, I saw you kind of clicked on and off. I didn't know if you wanted to say anything, but thank you for joining. Jeff is
Thank
also
you.
on our board.
Thank you, guys. And this has been a tremendous thing. And I'm sorry that I missed a lot of it because I have some certain things going on. A little bit different than what Gus is going through. And he's got a more positive. I'm going through some things right now, which Jules knows about. But Tony, love, compassion, humanity. I'd like to add respect and kindness to that, because if we can just be that, there's no other way to treat each other.
Yeah.
If we can live this. So I'm really impressed, and I'm saddened with the fact that I missed a lot of this, but I just, my heart goes out to all of you, and we all have our own lived experiences and we're all trying to get through it. I've found that love, compassion, humanity, respect, and kindness with LA Cops. And I'm thoroughly impressed every day with the members and the people that Jules brings together. And if nothing else, just thank you for being who you are and supporting our youth and other people that need that support. So I feel it, and it's much appreciated. And I really do appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Yeah, just definitely appreciate. And Jeff, by the way, we did record this, so we will post it on our social media platforms and share it. But
I will get on it.
all right, I will
you.
definitely share it with you. So, but yeah, with that, are there any saved rounds, is what we call? We try to give any last questions or any last thoughts before we close. Can I give everybody a little more time? Okay,
I want to invite people to be an ally. You don't have to be gay. You don't have to be part of that community. You just have to care about other human beings, and you can be an ally. Yeah.
Absolutely.
This community needs all the allies they can have, for sure.
Definitely.
So, yes.
Thank you so much, Anna. But yeah, thank you so much to our panelists, Anna, Tony, and Frank. thank you for everybody who was able to jump on. We will have this recorded and posted on socials. We'll share it with the panelists so you could spread the word. We're going to share this with TCOPS as well, because I know that it's helpful to know that people are there and supportive and send their love. And so with that, thank you so much. If you want to find out more about PFLAG, pflag.org, and then for us, LACOPSpride.org. We appreciate everybody. And if you want to participate in Frank's research study, please email me. My email is jules@lacopspride.org. We try to keep it simple. Simple is easy for, especially for law enforcement people. So that's kind of how we did that. But thank you all so much. Be safe, be healthy, have a great night. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity. It was
All right,
great.
thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care. Good night.
Take care. Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.